Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome. I am Sayukta from the NetScaler Product Management team, and in today's webinar, we'll be talking about NetScaler Management and Analytics System, MAS. Before starting, let me take you through today's agenda. I'll start with an overview to MAS. What is MAS? What are its key advantages? What are the different components in MAS along with the use cases? Then I'll talk a little about how you can move from Command Center to MAS in terms of migrating your configurations. And then I'll also speak about the comparison between these two products. In conclusion, I will be talking about the licensing portion of MAS and will also give you a quick overview to MA service. So what exactly is NetScaler Management and Analytics System? MAS is a powerful tool which allows you to combine management and monitoring, analytics, and orchestration of your complete infrastructure, be it NetScaler ADC, NetScaler Gateway, or NetScaler SD-WAN, into a single unified solution. Now let's take a look at some of the reasons why you must consider MAS and why it would be the right choice for you. You can now get rid of the different installations and various consoles for different management use cases, as MAS will provide you with a single touch point for managing your complete inventory, getting analytical reports, as well as integrating with multiple orchestration solutions. MAS also helps increase the operational efficiency. Summarized dashboards and automated operational tasks will help you simplify your day-to-day management activities and will also help you with problem identification and resolution. MAS will give you end-to-end analytics. So you'll have real-time as well as historical reports, which will help you identify the ongoing trends and understand the user experiences, which will help you to make accurate business decisions. MAS moves beyond the traditional infrastructure management and takes a new look at the app-centric way of management and analytics. Our very new application module includes the application dashboard, security dashboard, and style books, and is quite popular among the application admins for all their use cases. Last but not the least, MAS can manage multi-cloud deployments. So whether your NetScalers are deployed on-prem or whether they are deployed in cloud over AWS or Azure, MAS will be able to manage them and give you complete control of your inventory. Isn't that cool? So with this background, let's now take a look at what each MAS module constitutes of. MAS has three modules at a high level: management and monitoring, analytics, and orchestration. So let's start off with the first module, which is management and monitoring, and look through some of its high-level use cases. Starting with inventory and event management, you will have a summarized dashboard which will give you complete details into your inventory. And MAS will also provide you with instance level dashboards, which will give you an understanding of how your particular instance is doing and all the related information like events, for example, for that instance. MAS will also take regular backups of all your instances so that in case of any unfortunate incident, you can always use that backup to restore the NetScaler and get it back to the desired state. Event-based management helps you configure notifications for multiple types of events. So for example, if you want to get notified for any unwanted event, like if any of your critical entity in your deployment has gone down, you can configure an associated rule and an action which will help you notify via email or SMS. This is just one of the use cases. We support quite a multiple breadth of use cases with our event management module. And we also have maintenance period recognition, wherein you can choose not to get any notifications during that maintenance period. Config management is the next functionality I'd like to talk about. This is the place where you would go for all your NetScaler configuration, execution, auditing, etc. So some of the use cases you can achieve with the help of this module is replicating one NetScaler's configuration to multiple other NetScalers with the help of variable input parameters. This module will also allow you to automate your NetScaler upgrades. You can take advantage of the configuration audit feature to track configuration changes and identify the unwanted configuration changes and correct them and get it back to the desired config state. We also have a really interesting feature called config advice, which will analyze the NetScaler configurations upfront and advise you on how you can strengthen these configurations. Next, I'd like to talk about SSL certificate management. So this module allows you to perform your general SSL certificate operations like install, update, create CSR, link, unlink, certs, etc. But that's not all, it has a lot more. It can help you set alerts for notifying you when your certificates are about to expire. So you can get notified X days before your certificate is about to expire and start the update process well before time. Apart from that, we also have a feature called SSL Enterprise Policy, wherein you can configure the SSL parameters that your enterprise mandates. MAS will check all your certificates which do not abide by these policy, and it will mark them as not recommended on the dashboard across all the charts. So this will help you identify which particular chart or certificate needs your attention, and you can further drill down. For example, consider that your enterprise is mandating that all your certificates must be of strength 2048 and above, or must be issued only by a certain set of trusted issuers. You can simply let MAS know this by configuring a simple policy, and MAS will then highlight all those certificates which do not comply by these policy settings. Next, I'd like to highlight the next module, which is network functions and network reporting. So these are the modules which will show you the complete list of entities across all your managed NetScaler instances, be it vServers, services, service groups, servers. All those will be listed and you can monitor them using this module and also enable and disable these entities as required. MAS will also allow you to gracefully shut down services, which would be helpful during your maintenance periods. Coming to network reports, it will help you draw historical reports over some important counters, and you can also choose to be notified when a particular counter or report value has gone beyond a configured threshold. Now let's look at some of the use cases under system level management. MAS supports granular role-based access. You can define what an admin must see and what he must not see in MAS. You can also define granular access to specific entities for an admin. For example, if you want an admin to have access to only 2 out of the 10 managed NetScalers, you can do that. Or if you want your app admin to have access only to XYZ application and not any other application, you can also do that. In MAS, we also have system level auditing, wherein MAS will log all the changes done on NetScaler via MAS. And please note that we do support external auth servers as well, apart from local authentication, like Radius, LDAP, TUCAX. And we also do support cascading authentication. Next, let's have a look at stylebooks. Now, this is a really powerful module which supports and simplifies application deployment. Currently, we have quite a few inbuilt stylebooks for configuring network functions as well as enterprise application deployment. Stylebook essentially will abstract the complexities involved with CLI command executions and will provide you a templatized way to deploy the required configs. It also acts like a bridge for orchestration solutions which make use of style books for various kind of config executions. So these were some of the highlights of management and monitoring component. Next, let's move on to analytics and have a quick look at what all use cases can be satisfied with the help of MAS analytics. Let's start with Web Insight. So Web Insight offers you complete analytics across your HTTP traffic. Web Insight reports would help you analyze the HTTP traffic hitting your enterprise applications, and you can get analytical reports across all your instances, apps, URLs, clients, etc., and drill down further based on your use case. One of the most common use cases, which I would also like to highlight here, is that you can identify which part of the network is responsible for high latency. So consider that you have users complaining to you that they're experiencing slowness while accessing your app. You can help by identifying whether this latency is because of the client side of the network, or is it because of the server side of the network, or is it simply the application server itself that is taking time to process the request. Next, let's have a look at SSL Insight. SSL Insight is a relatively new MAS functionality and goes hand in hand with Web Insight. It will help you gain a complete insight into the SSL parameters associated with your HTTP traffic. For example, if you want to see which applications have low-strength ciphers negotiated, or which applications were served over a particular protocol, say SSL v3, you can do that. Next comes HDX Insight. Now, HDX Insight gives you analytics for your ICA traffic, which would be hitting your XenApp and Zen desktop deployments. One of the popular use cases would be to identify which part of the network is causing high latency for your VDI environment. Please note that MAS HDX Insight solution also seamlessly integrates with Director, which is the XenApp and Zen desktop management tool, as you must be knowing. And it will help you provide a single location for management and monitoring of your XAXT deployments. Next, let's have a look at Gateway Insight. This solution provides you insight into the end user experiences while using NetScaler Gateway. So it'll give you an ability to troubleshoot any kind of logon issues like authentication issues, authorization issues, endpoint analysis, SSO issues, etc. Or it can also help you with application launch issues. Security Insight gives you analytics around security parameters and configurations. Today it is mainly focused around web application firewall security analytics, but it's also expanding to include more and more L4 attacks. So as you may already be knowing, Security Insight uses two indexes, which are called Threat Index and Safety Index, which help tell you what is the level of threat exposure to your environment and the level of safety you have deployed on NetScaler, respectively. With Security Insight, you can know how secure your applications are or how frequently they're being attacked. You can also get to know some information like the most prominent attack, locations from where these attacks are originating, how many attacks were mitigated by NetScaler, etc. Next, let's have a look at application analytics and management. So this will help you manage your complete set of applications and gives you information on the app score of each app. App score will help you tell how well your application is doing in terms of health or performance. We have multiple reports and filters as a part of this app dashboard, which will help you in getting an overview of all your applications and will help you drill down to those set of applications that really need your attention. We also have advanced analytics, which is based on machine learning mechanism and helps in anomaly identification. So few of the common problematic scenarios which it would highlight upfront are high response time scenarios, uneven LB scenarios, etc. Lastly, let's have a look at SWG analytics. This is a newly introduced analytics functionality. SWG analytics will help admins track user internet usage patterns and understand what risky behavior is going on inside an organization, which users are responsible for risky behavior, etc. Then admins can accordingly take appropriate actions for those set of users. So with this, we've had a brief look at the analytics features. Um, Insights and these analytics features have a lot more depth, but we've just touched the tip of the iceberg to give a brief introduction. And with that, let's move on to the next component, which is orchestration. MAS supports integration with third-party orchestration tools like OpenStack, VMware NSX, Cisco Epic, Kubernetes, Mesos Marathon, etc. Some important points to note here. This is multi-tenant aware. It'll help you automate your complete ADC lifecycle, starting from provisioning of an instance to its configuration, etc. It's made possible with a flexible framework, which we have, our flexible policy framework. And do note that our configurations are atomic in nature and supported across all form factors. Now, apart from these three components, in general, there are some cool features in MAS which I would like to touch upon and highlight. First is that MAS supports multi-cloud management. So MAS can manage your NetScalers deployed on-prem as well as your NetScalers which are deployed on cloud, that is AWS Azure. MAS also supports the management of HA proxy instances. So we showcase an HA proxy app dashboard as well. We also support VPX CICO licensing, which is check-in, check-out licensing. So all your VPX licenses would be centrally located in MAS and are not node locked to NetScalers. You can check out these VPX licenses from MAS and allocate it to a certain VPX instance on demand, and then check it back to MAS when you no longer need it on that instance. Another really cool feature is pooled licensing. This is a new licensing framework which would enable a common bandwidth and instance pool on MAS. Common bandwidth pool and instance pool on MAS. So you can check out a certain bandwidth based on your requirement from this MAS pool and you can allocate it to a NetScaler. So essentially, it will give you the flexibility to increase or decrease your bandwidth allocation. Now with that, we've had a quick overview of MAS and its different components and the supported use cases. Now let's take a step back and do a quick recap of Command Center. As you may already be knowing, Citrix Command Center was the older management and monitoring tool, which is now heading towards EOL. The notice of status changed for both Command Center software and Command Center hardware are out, and the dates are listed in this particular screen. Please refer to the links shown on screen to have a better understanding in case you have not already referred to these articles. Before proceeding, I would like to highlight some of the important dates here for CC hardware as well as software. So for Command Center software, the end of maintenance date is 15th May 2018 and end of life date will be 15th May 2019. For Command Center hardware appliance, the end of sale has already happened on 20th November 2016. End of maintenance will be on 20th November 2021 and end of life will be on 20th November 2021 itself. For the legacy versions of Command Center, the EOM and EOL dates are as shown in table. These legacy versions are already EOL, but I've put up this information as well to represent a complete overview of Command Center. So with this, it's the right time for you to explore MAS and shift to MAS, as it is much more advanced than what Command Center was and provides many, many more functionalities as I have described in the earlier slides. Now, to help you get an evaluation of how Command Center versus MAS really looks like, I've made a quick comparison table here. Let me quickly talk through this. Let's start with inventory management. So Command Center also had a few functionalities on inventory management, but MAS goes a step ahead, wherein you will have rich inventory dashboards. You'll also have instance level dashboards. We provide support for private IP blocks as well. And one really interesting fact, which was not there in Command Center and is there in MAS, is the support for admin partitions and CPX management. Coming to event and syslog management, a good chunk of it was already covered in Command Center, and we would have similar functionalities in MAS as well. Added to that, you will also have an event dashboard, and we'll support event alerting via SMS also, which was not there in Command Center. Configuration management and auditing. This has always been quite a popular feature in Command Center as well. But you'll be happy to know that MAS not only supports that, but supports many other use cases as well in terms of config management and audit. So as I've explained earlier, we have config advice, wherein MAS would give you advice on your NetScaler configurations. We also have a configuration audit dashboard, which will tell you if there have been any config violations, differences, etc. We've also gone in the concept of unified config templates, wherein you can use the templates seamlessly between configuration management, that is execution, and configuration auditing. We also support executing the same configuration across different NetScalers with varied variable values across each NetScaler. Some of the other new things which we have in MAS are record and play, wherein you can record all the configuration changes you're doing on one NetScaler UI and play it onto other NetScalers. In terms of config, in case of NetScaler upgrade, we have also introduced pre-checks for NetScaler upgrade to warn you of certain errors which you may encounter, which would lead to your NetScaler upgrade failure. And of course, we have introduced style books, which is a completely new way of config management for your app deployments. And it also supports some of the enterprise app deployments today. Coming to SSL certificate management, Command Center did some part of it, but it's much advanced in MAS. We support enterprise SSL policy enforcement as well, which I highlighted earlier, wherein MAS would check what your enterprise mandates, and everything which does not abide by your policy, it would highlight it as not recommended across the dashboard. We also have different charts which show up in SSL certificate dashboards, which will tell you if your certificates are about to expire, which will tell you which certificates are used, unused, etc. And we have certificate expiry alerting as well via SMS, which was not there in Command Center. Coming to network functions, also popularly known as network monitoring and network reporting. Command Center had quite a few functionalities across these use cases. In MAS, we also support top 5 summarized dashboards for your network functions. One interesting point to note is that we also support in MAS instance or partition level polling for network functions. So you need not do a global poll across your complete inventory entities, which is an overhead. You can simply do instance level polling here. A quick point to note in network reporting of MAS is that today we have inbuilt reports only across multiple important counters. It would cover most of your network reporting use cases, and we do welcome your feedback in case you require any additional reports. Coming to system administration was also supported in Command Center, and in MAS, to add on to that, we have multi-tenancy support as well, which was not there in CC, and we have granular role-based access control, which will help you define what an admin must see, must not see, or which entities he should be allowed to access, or which entities he's not authorized to, etc. Coming to the next module, which is App Lifecycle Management and App Analytics. This is completely new in MAS. It was not there in Command Center. And you will see a new application dashboard, application security dashboard. We'll have app-based role-based access, app health scores, stylebook-based app configurations, and all of it is new in MAS. Even orchestration was not supported in Command Center, and is supported in MAS via OpenStack, VMware NSX, container orchestration, Cisco Epic, etc. Hybrid or multi-cloud management was also not possible using Command Center, and this is something which you can achieve using MAS. You can manage any NetScaler instance, be it your on-premise instance or your instance on cloud. Analytics and insights for app performance and troubleshooting includes insights like Web Insight, HDX Insight, Gateway Insight, and others, which, as we have already discussed earlier, gives you information or analytics onto your HTTP traffic, ICA traffic, etc. All these were not available in Command Center and will be available in MAS. Analytics and insights for security, like Security Insight, Secure Web Gateway, that is SWG Analytics, SSL Insight, etc. also will be available in MAS, which were not available in Command Center. And lastly, support for third-party load balancer management. It's there in MAS, which was not there in Command Center. Currently, under this category, we support HA proxy management. So with this, as you see, MAS has parity across all high-level Command Center use cases. And not only that, it goes a step above in most of the functionalities and provides you a lot more than what Command Center had. And quite a few features are completely new in MAS, which you would not have seen in Command Center at all. So for the existing features which you used to use in Command Center and will use in MAS after you have migrated, I have made a table which will help familiarize you with the Command Center terminologies mapping to the MAS terminology mapping. So which module maps to which module? So in Command Center, the Citrix network module which you would be using would map to the network module, things like dashboard, instances, instance groups, etc. The fault module will be known as, in MAS, will be the networks event module. Monitoring is now under network functions. I mean, the same use cases would be satisfied. The configuration use cases you'll be able to find under MAS network configuration jobs, configuration audit, SSL dashboard. Earlier in Command Center, SSL as well was some part of the config module. Now it's a whole new module as it supports breadth of new use cases. The reporting module, as in Command Center, the same use cases, if you were to find in MAS, would be under network reporting module. As I mentioned, it would have the inbuilt reports. And administration module in CC, some of the administration and system level functionalities. Those use cases would be found under MAS system module. So we had a lot of feedback from the field saying that it would be really helpful to have a Command Center to MAS migration tool, which would help migrate certain configurations from Command Center to MAS. Well, we have that now. You can migrate your Command Center configurations to MAS now without losing any of the existing configuration settings or data of your existing command center deployment or MAS deployment. This is supported for NetScaler, NetScaler SDX, and NetScaler SD-WAN WANOP devices. If you were to migrate your configurations from Command Center to MAS, please note that these are the deployments which we support. You can migrate a CC standalone to a MAS standalone deployment or MAS HA deployment. And you can migrate a CC HA to a MAS standalone or a MAS HA deployment. We've also some limitations on the version which would be supported. So this migration tool or feature is available with the latest release of Command Center, which is version 5.2 build 48.2. So if you're using a CC version earlier than that, you must upgrade to this version and then use the migration feature. And the NetScaler MAS version would need to be 12.0 build 51.24 or later. We have a very good documentation on this tool. So if you're interested in looking at it and understanding more, please refer to the complete details in the link I have mentioned on screen. This is how the tool looks like on the Command Center latest build UI. Under Administrations tab in Command Center, you will find a new section called NetScaler MAS Migration, wherein if you go to the category NetScaler MAS Migration and click on Migrate Configuration, it would ask you for your NetScaler MAS IP to which you want to shift all your configurations. And it will also prompt you for the MAS administrator username and password, using which it would do all the configuration transfer in the backend. So as mentioned before, it would be really helpful if you refer to the documentation before you try to migrate from Command Center to MAS so that you're aware of the complete details. This would be a really helpful tool if you currently use Command Center and you're looking at shifting to MAS, some of the existing configs. So with that, we've covered how you can help migrate from CC to MAS. And now let's take a look at the MAS 12.0 on-prem licensing overview, what's free, what's not, etc. So just a quick summary, which you may already be knowing. MAS licensing is based on the number of vServers being managed. All features are free up to 30 vServers. And beyond that, features like management monitoring and orchestration are free. So when I say free MAS, you can simply download MAS on-prem and install it. And the management and monitoring features would be free across all vServers. Even the orchestration features would be free across all vServers. It will not, you will not require a license if you have even above 30 vServers for these functionalities on MAS on-prem. In case of analytics, you will be able to leverage these functionalities up to 30 vServers in free. And if you want to leverage these functionalities beyond 30 vServers, you would require a license. So the reason why I've highlighted this particular point is that most of the use cases in Command Center are referred to as management and monitoring use cases. And as you see, they would be free in MAS. So you can get to MAS and leverage all these features for free. For more details on the licensing, please refer to the link which I've mentioned on screen. Now, apart from the MAS license, for some of the analytics modules, there is also a dependency on NetScaler license. For example, to utilize MAS analytics modules like HDX Insight, Security Insight, or Gateway Insight, the customer would need to have appropriate NetScaler license as well. Like for example, in HDX and Gateway Insight, apart from the MAS license, which you would need to have if you're leveraging it beyond 30 vServers, you will also need to have either a NetScaler Enterprise license, which will help you get last 1 hour level of reporting, or you would need to have the NetScaler Platinum license to have reports across all supported intervals. Similarly, in case of security insight, apart from the MAS license, on NetScaler, you would require the NetScaler Platinum license or the NetScaler Enterprise license with App Firewall feature licensed. So just a point to note that you will need to buy MAS vServer packs only if you want to utilize the analytics features beyond 30 vServers. Coming to third-party load balancer details, which is HA proxy, we have a separate type of license for third-party load balancers. Now, as MAS licenses for NetScalers are limited, when you have a MAS license for NetScalers, you will be able to leverage the functionalities, the analytics functionalities up to 30 vServers. Similarly, in HA proxy, there is a concept called front end, which is quite similar to the concept of vServers in NetScaler. And similar to how we have this 30 vServer limit in NetScaler, we would be having a 30 front end limit for app management dashboard for HA proxy. So if you are interested in looking at management of third-party LB, you will need this type of license. And in future, if we plan on expanding the support for third-party LB, the same license will be applied to other third-party LBs as well. Now, very interesting point. Did you know that MAS is not only supported on-premise, but is also delivered as a service? So some of the interesting points which you would be able to avail if you're utilizing MAS as a service, which we refer to as MA service, you'll have a single touch point. It'll eliminate your IT overhead. In MA service, we have a concept called agent, which you'll need to deploy, and we'll have evergreen updates for this agent. So your MA service upgrades will be, frequent, and you would not need to manage your agent upgrades. You'll not need to be worried about your scale, and it would help you accelerate your POCs and production deployments, as we also provide a self-service trial, which will help you onboard and take a look and feel of this particular MA service. How it works is really simple. So simply sign on for MA service, download and install the management agent. The agent will auto-register itself with MA service. After that, you can add your NetScaler instances to the MA service UI. And you're done. You can start managing your deployment. So it's as simple as that. So with that, I've covered and touched upon all the points which I had in mind for today's webinar. Please feel free to share your feedback, comments, queries, and suggestions to us. And thank you so much for attending the webinar. Thank you, everyone. Have a very good day.